Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello everyone, today I am going to make 10 cards using the Love From Lizi December 2019 kit. And this is our first card that we're going to make. I'm going to use the little butterfly that comes on the sticker pack, as well as the sentiment. This came on the sticker pack as well. And what I've done is I've stuck that down to a white piece of card. And this card measures 3 inches by 3 inches. And I've rounded off the corners using my X-Cut corner rounder. I've taken a piece of patterned paper which measures 5.5 by 5.5, and this came in the kit. We got a lovely paper pad. And I've also got a scalloped edge 6 by 6 card, and you can see here I've taken a timeout sticker from the sticker pack and put that inside as my sentiment. I'm going to speed up this part of the video, just where we're putting our cards together, so that our video isn't too long. So I've used my sticker tape runner and I've stuck down my beautiful patterned paper onto our card, and we have a nice border all around. I've also stuck down my sentiment, and I'm using this is new to me. It's a foam double-sided tape and it's clear. Now I got this in my local Mr. Price here in Ireland, but it's like a €2 shop, or Target or Deals. But it's lovely. It's not as thick as my 3M foam tape, but it gives a lovely bit of raised definition there. I've taken 2 hearts from the sticker pack, and I'm also taking a strip of some of the leftover patterned paper. It's about 1 inch wide by, again, about 5.5 inches long, and I'm just going to pop that down at the bottom, and that'll bring the whole card together. So there we are. Our timeout inside. I'm not telling the person to have a timeout, I'm just saying take a timeout. It's a gentle thing. We're moving quickly on to card 2. I have a piece of ephemera, one of the plant pots, as well as a cut apart, our sentiment. I've some foiled striped paper and I've cut that down to 4.5 by 1.5, as well as this mustard piece which measures 4.5 by 3. And then this lovely pattern paper which measures 4.5 by 6.5. I've also got this ready-made card base, and this is a 5 by 7 card base that I'm using here, but you can make your own. You just cut a piece of card measuring 10 by 7 and score at 5. Inside the card you can see I have a piece of mustard paper, as well as the striped paper and a sticker of the plant pot. The mustard paper measures 5 by 1, and then the striped paper measures 4 by 3, and I've stuck them down so that the edge of one is the same at the edge of the other, and they're going to meet there in the middle like that. And the reason for that is we're going to put a pop-up piece in the center along the score line of our card, so I want the whole of it inside to look balanced. So I'm going to use my tape runner to stick this one down, and I've used my tape runner to stick the one down that's inside. The little plant pot with the lovely leaves, that is, as I said, a sticker, but I do recommend using some liquid glue to make sure that they stick down. I've taken 2 little hearts from the sticker pack and put that on the other end there at the left. So this is our ephemera piece. Take time to make your soul happy. And I've scored this right down the middle, which was easy because there's the point there at the top and the bottom in the middle. The 2 strips of white card that you can see in my hand measure 2.5 by 1/2 inch, and these are going to be for the pop-up mechanism in the middle of our card, and we'll get to that later. I'll show you how we're going to score it and then stick them together to make the little mechanism you can see there. So let's speed up our video now and assemble our card to the point that we need to get to do our little pop-up mechanism. So I have my roller tape out, and I've just stuck down my foil striped piece, and that's 1/2 inch from the bottom, and I've done the same with the mustard coloured pattern paper. It's 1/2 inch down from the top. I've stuck down my sentiment as well, and I'm going to put some foam tape behind my lovely plant pot. So once the foam tape is all on, we'll take off the release paper on the back, and then voila, there we go, stick it down on our card. I have my liquid Nuvo Glue here ready, and I'm going to put that on the back of this panel, and then I'll stick that down onto the card base. And because it's a liquid glue, it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to make sure my borders are nice and even. So I've slowed it back now to normal speed, and we're going to work on our inside pop-up and mechanism. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my scoring board. I have my 2 pieces of card here which measure, as I said, 2.5 by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to score them every 1/2 inch. So at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inches, and 2 inches, and that'll give us 5 little panels, so to speak, on our little strips. So I'll get rid of the scoreboard now, and we'll come back to those 2 little strips. We're going to fold each of these on their score lines. So you can see there now we have our little panels. I'm going to zoom in so you can see better. And I'm going to do that again on the second piece. So I'm folding it on each of our score lines. And then I'm going to take some red liner tape. This is a really strong double-sided adhesive tape, and I like to use that if I'm sticking something like this together, or if I'm using it on like a sprinkled or a glittered cardstock. So I'm putting a piece of tape on one of the little end squares, and I'm going to cut that off there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the release paper off the top of this double-sided tape. It's a little bit fiddly with my short nails, but I get it. Now I'm going to stick down one end to the other end. So I'm lying it flat and then folding over that little piece. And that's going to give us our little cube, so to speak. And I'm just making sure that it's pressed down on the double-sided tape. So let's do that again. We'll take the release paper off one end. Eventually I will get it off. It's not easy with short nails, guys, but I do get it. There we go. So I'm just folding over any little excess there at the end. So you can see there now I have the double-sided tape on one side, and I'm folding over the other end onto that. So there we have our little cube shape. Now we're going to stick these 2 little cube shapes together, and usually I stick the 2 sides that have been folded over. So again, I'm going to take some of my red liner tape, and I'm sorry if you can hear little doggy feet or doggy nails on my wooden floor here. Buster likes to come over and have a nose around at what I'm doing. So there you go, I've put a piece of red liner tape onto one of our little squares, and now I'm going to take the other cube and stick them together. So I know my camera isn't zoomed in very well, but hopefully you can see. I'm going to take one little edge and stick a panel to the other panel, just like that. And I'm going to push in nice and hard, fold it over. Just what I'm trying to do is ensure that one of those cubes is stuck really well to the other, which they are. And this is how we're going to fold our mechanism. With the 2 cubes together, we're going to press down. And that's how it's going to work inside in our card. You can see there. So where we have our little panel we want to pop up, and where the score line is in the middle of this sentimented panel, we're going to fold it over, and then we're going to fold our little mechanism over our panel. So we need tape on these 2 squares. Again, I'm going to use my red double-sided tape, and I'm going to put some tape across the 2 cubes there now. There we go. So I'm pressing down on that tape to make sure that it's adhered really well, and just could see a little air bubble in there. That's why I was pressing down, making sure to get all the air bubbles out. And then I'm going to take off the release paper off the top. Lovely. So where our 2 cubes are meeting there, you can see there's a center line. And what we need to do is bring our folded pop-up piece here, which I have folded in half. We're bringing the edge of that up to the center of our 2 cubes. So I'm pressing down on 1 cube, and then I'm going to fold our little mechanism over. So you can see there it's stuck onto one of the little cube panels at the back. So now we have the second one there on the left that hasn't stuck onto anything. So I'm going to fold that over onto our pop-up panel piece. So it's literally wedged in between our 2 little cubes. But this is how our mechanism is going to work. So now we need to put tape on the back side of our 2 cubes right there. So I'm going to take my red liner tape and I'm going to put a strip of tape across these 2 little panels here. And use my scissors then to snip it off. I'm going to press down on the release tape to make sure I've all the air bubbles out, and then I'm going to peel the release tape off the top. Lovely. Now we have some adhesive on the opposite side to our pop-up mechanism. So now here's our card, and our mechanism is going to go into the score line of our card. Just going to zoom out there and put Buster out of the room. He's annoying me now with his faffing around. So here we go, we have our mechanism. I'm folding my pop-out panel in the center, and then I'm going to bring up the left side of our mechanism, and that is going to sit literally just up to where our score line is, to where our card creases in the middle. So I've pressed down on one side, and I'm now going to fold over the card and press down on the other side of the mechanism. And there you can see then that'll open up. So the tape on the back of our cube is attached to our card base, and our mechanism then is attached to our pop-up panel. And it's as simple as that. I hope it's as simple as that and you could understand and follow along with what I've done. But it gives a fantastic look to the inside of our card, and no special dies required or no purchasing a mechanism to put in there. It's a simple thing you can do yourself just like that. So now I'm going to take my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, and I'm going to put a little bit of our sparkle onto our plant leaves as well as the little pot they're in. I'm going to liberally put some glitter or sparkle or shine, whatever you want to call it, on our little plant. Lovely. So now we're moving on to card number 3, and I have 2 of the butterflies from the ephemera pack here, as well as one of the sentiment ephemera pieces as well. This isn't one of the stickers, this is one of the ephemera pieces. I have a cut apart panel, and this measures 4 by 6, and then I have some yellow card that came in the kit, and that measures 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. I have a white 5 by 7 card base, and you can make one yourself by getting a piece of card, cutting it at 10 by 7 and scoring at 5. So I have sped this up now, and I'm going to put all my mats and layers down, and again I'm using my liquid Nuvo Glue to do this. So I started with my lovely mellow yellow matte layer, and then this beautiful cut apart with the lovely sprigs in each corner. I'm sticking down my find joy in the ordinary using my liquid glue. And now I have my foam double-sided clear foam tape that I'm going to put on the butterfly wings. And I've got some double-sided, very skinny, this is 1/8 of an inch red liner tape, and I'm going to put that in the center of the body. That way the base of the body will stick to the card, but I'll have a little bit of height there using the foam tape. Now this foam tape, this clear foam tape, is really cool, but I have to say, getting the liner tape off it is so hard. It's so sticky. Once this goes down onto your paper, it's down. There's no coming back from it, but it is brilliant, and it wasn't expensive either in my local shop. So I'm going to put some double-sided 3M foam tape on the back of my beautiful orange butterfly here at the top, and it works just as well. The clear foam tape doesn't give the same depth when it's folded over as my 3M tape. So the orange butterfly looks a little bit, the wings are raised up a bit more than our grey and orange butterfly. So now all we need to do is put a sentiment in the inside. I've got one of the butterfly stickers from the sticker pack, and I'm going to stick that inside. And I'm also taking a sentiment from a stamp set that's in my stash, and I think I got this from AliExpress, guys. I'll try and link everything down below, but there are some things I may not be able to find. But all that leaves us to do is put some Spectrum Noir sparkle pen over our butterflies and stick down some of the sequins. There's lovely sequins you can see there on the desk that came with this kit. It's in a kind of a nude iridescent, there's a black iridescent and a gold. Beautiful sequins. Will make a fantastic shaker card. I won't make a shaker card in this kit, but it wasn't for the want of trying. I'll probably make one myself later on. But there we go, that's our third card, all done and finished, and I'm absolutely delighted with this card. So next we're going to move on to card number 4. For this card I have used one of the lovely linen flowers, which has like pearls in the center. I'm going to use one of the hearts. I have this cut apart which measures 5 3/4 by 4. I have this white piece of card measuring 4.5 by 6.5, and this lovely mellow yellow which measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And again, I have a standard 5 by 7 card base that I'm using, but I'm going to have it as a top opening, top fold card. So let's go ahead and get all our mats and layers stuck down. So I'm using my liquid glue to put down our lovely yellow matte layer, and then on top of that I'm going to put this white matte layer. And I just wanted to kind of bring our focus to our center panel, our cut apart in the middle, and I felt by having a white card base, a yellow matte, then a white matte, and then this lovely coloured focal point, it would bring it all in for us. I've put some 3M double-sided foam tape on our cut apart, and I'm going to stick that down as close to the middle as I can get it. I'm going to choose one of these lovely wooden hearts, and it kind of looks like a little face there, I don't know if you could see it. And I'm going to stick this down using my Sizzix Hot Glue Gun. I find using hot glue, if you have a hot glue gun, is the best idea because you can be sure it's going to stick. Now these little wooden dots have got a sticky pad on the underside, and I was going to stick them down using that, but I thought, you know what, my hot glue gun is on. I'm actually going to use that to stick them down, and then I can be sure that they're not going to come off unless someone pulls them off. So I've left the little sticky pad on the back of the wooden dot, and I've just put my little dot of hot glue on the card itself and then stuck the dot on top of it, and that worked perfectly for me. Happy with that. I've taken one of the sticker hearts and again put a bit of hot glue on the wooden heart and stuck my stickered heart down onto that. So I'm happy with that now. All I need to do is work on the inside of the card. And for the inside of the card, I've taken this lovely flower sticker. It's similar or the same as the flowers that's on the front of the card. And I have it so it's kind of just coming off the edge. And I'm going to use one of the stamps that came in the stamp set. And this one has "With All My Heart." I just thought this is our happy place at the front, and then "With All My Heart." This would be a nice card for Valentine's Day. It's not your traditional looking Valentine's card, but you know, I thought that would be nice. So I've stuck the sentiment down near the flower. I don't use a lot of the sentiments in the cards, but I thought I would use that one for this one. I'm going to take my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen and I'm going to put some glitter on my little wooden dots as well as the heart, the wooden heart itself. And that is card number 4, all finished. Lovely. So now we're going to move on to card number 5. And for card number 5, I'm going to use some butterflies and another cut apart and some of the papers that came, the card that came in the kit, as well as an ephemera sentiment. So this cut apart measures 6 1/4 by 4 and this red matte layer measures 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. I have a card base here, measures 7 by 5, and I'm using it as a top folding card. So I have my Nuvo Glue here and I'm going to put some on the back of this red matte layer and stick that down on our card base. And then I'm going to take the cut apart and I'm going to put some glue on that, and I'm going to stick that down centered on the red matte layer as best I can. Now I'm going to take this piece of ephemera and I'm going to take some double-sided foam tape. This is the Scotch 3M foam tape. I'm going to put it on the back of it, and this is going to raise it up for me off our card. So I have all the release paper off and I'm going to stick that down there, and I want to leave enough room at the bottom right for my large butterfly. This piece came in the kit. It's an ephemera piece. I'm going to use my 1/8 inch double-sided red liner tape for the center of the body and some foam tape for over the wings, and I've curled the wings using my bone folder there to give a bit of, you know, depth to the butterfly. I'm taking a black liner pen and I'm drawing in the antennae on the butterfly because there isn't any and they didn't look like finished, so yeah, I've drawn those in. I don't know how well, but there you go. I've taken a sentiment from my stash, and this is a thank you sentiment, and I'm going to pop that in the inside top left hand side, as well as I'm going to take one of the little grey and orange butterfly stickers from the sticker pack we got. It matches the one on the front of our card. I've got my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen and I'm going to put lots of lovely sparkle onto our butterflies. And then to finish it off, I'm going to take some of the Nuvo drops that we got in the kit. I'm going to put 3 dots down, then 2 dots, then 1. Now I slowed it down so you can see here. I'm going to bring the card over to the edge of my desk and I'm going to tap the card down just like that. And what that'll help do is it'll round off our dome, the top of our Nuvo drops, so you don't end up with a pointy Nuvo drop when it settles. But definitely tapping the card does help, just like that. It helps to settle the Nuvo drops. That's that card finished. And we're going straight into card number 6. So I have 2 ephemera pieces. They're the plants in the plant pots. I have a cut apart which measures 4 inches by 4 inches, a piece of pattern paper measuring 5.5 by 5.5, a scalloped edge card measuring 6 by 6. Now you can cut a card base measuring 12 by 6 and score it at 6 yourself, but I have this ready-made card base. So I'm going to stick down my patterned paper using my liquid glue onto my card base, try and get that as centered on the front as possible, and then I'm going to stick down my cut apart. Now I did look there at the peel offs to see if I wanted to put some down, and I didn't, not yet. I didn't feel it fit on this card, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of the 2 plant pots. That'll give a little bit of depth to the front of the card. And once I get all the release paper off, I'm going to pop that one down onto the bottom right hand side. Lovely. So now I've got my foam tape on my second potted plant, and the release paper off, and I'm going to put that on the left. I kind of feel that balances the front of the card out. Now I've taken a sticker from the sticker pack and I've put that on the inside of our card as our sentiment, and I'm also going to take one of the little flower stickers which matches what's more or less on the front of the card and put that inside. I've taken my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen and I'm going to put lots of sparkle onto our plants as well as the pots themselves, and then using my liquid glue I'm going to put down some sequins. Now for the bigger sequins that I'm going to put in the top right, I'm going to use my hot glue gun, but for the rest of the sequins I'm going to use my liquid glue, and that'll work fine for them. I have my hot glue gun on here beside me, and hence the reason I used it for the bigger little sequins there. So that's card number 6 all finished and ready to go. I love this card. I think it's so cool. I love it. I love the sentiment on it on the outside and on the inside as well. Fab. So let's move on now to card number 7. So with this card, and I'm going to freeze the frame just here for you to see, the front panel of my card is actually 3 pieces. It's a cut apart with the hello cut apart, as well as some patterned paper down at the bottom. This front panel will measure altogether 6 1/4 by 4 1/2. That's with the cutter parts and this foil stripped paper. You can see there I've some double-sided tape sticking it all together. So there on the right hand side I'm going to attach one of the pencil stickers that's in the sticker part of the kit, and I'll stick that along the side there. In the meantime I have this mellow yellow matte layer, and it measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I have a 7 by 5 card, and I'm using it as a top folding card, but you can cut out a piece of 10 by 7, score it at 5, and then you'll have a top folding card as well. Now I did decide to use one of the widest peel-offs, and that's going to go along between our patterned paper and our ephemera. I'm just going to fold it around the back, and that way when I stick it down I won't have any loose ends coming up, just to be sure. So I have my little pencil here and I'm going to pop that along the side, and it will basically stick at the bottom part onto my patterned paper, and then I'm going to put some double-sided tape behind that. Even though it's a sticker, I just want to make sure it doesn't move until I'm ready to put it down onto my matte layer. I'm going to take some of the sentiment stickers that's on the sticker pack, and I'm going to, before I do that, stick down my matte layer first, and I'm going to use my liquid glue, which I'm nearly running out of, but I do have a spare bottle, and I'm going to stick that down onto my card base. Then I'm going to take my top panel, take off the release tape from the double-sided tape that I have on there, and then use my double-sided tape roller on that to stick that down. Could have used the liquid glue, but just didn't think of it. Now I've got 2 of the wooden hearts that came in the kit, and I'm going to use my hot glue gun to stick them down. I like to use hot glue for the likes of embellishments and ribbons, etc. I can be sure then that they're not going to come off. So now I have the little sentiment strips, and I've put down "Be kind to yourself" in the green. Then below that I'm going to put "Enjoy this moment" in the white, and then I'm going to take a mustard coloured one with "Deep breath" on the top. So I think it gives, you know, a nice vibe there to the card. On the pencil it has "Simple Pleasures" as well. So inside I'm going to take one of the stickers, and it's Be Kind, and put that inside. So it all goes along with the same idea. And I'm going to take 2 of the flower stickers from the sticker pack and put that inside beside our sentiment. Now I'm going to take the Nuvo drops, which I've given a good shake, guys, and are room temperature, so they're nice and warm, and I'm going to put some Nuvo drops around the card. I've put 3 together, 2 together and 1 together. I'm going to put 3 down on the bottom, and I'm also going to put some on the wooden hearts. You won't see that I do that after the fact. You can see me there, I'm gently tapping the card. I'm not hammering it down, I'm gently tapping it. And this is just to make sure that the points on my Nuvo drops actually settle and they become a nice dome shape. You can see that there. And that basically, folks, is that card all done and dusted. Let's move on to card number 8. So this is card 8, and it's going to be a sympathy card. I've taken one of the lovely tags that came in the kit, and I've cut out, literally giving it 1/8 of an inch border around that in a white card from my stash. I've used the lovely doily die, try say that 3 times fast. I've cut out 3 of those, and I have some of the patterned paper here, which measures 4.5 by 6.5. I've also a matte layer of the green card that came, and that measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And I have a 5 by 7 card base that I'm using. Lovely. So let's speed this up and put our card together. So I have my ephemera tag that came in the kit, and I'm going to stick that down to the ephemera tag that I've made out of white card. Once I have that stuck down, I'm going to take some 3M foam tape, and I'm going to stick that on the back of this tag. Lovely. I want to have the doilies so that they'll sit behind it, but first I'm going to put my patterned paper down on my green matte layer. And once I have that done, sorry about my camera having a zoom issue there. Once I have that done, I'm going to put the 2 layers, the green matte and the patterned paper, down onto my card base. Now I should have popped a little hole through my tag before I put the double-sided foam on, but it actually, my punch worked perfectly, and I got the hole through there no problem. So I have some thin peach colored ribbon that came in another kit from Lizzie, and I've put that through at the top, and I'm going to sit my tag down on my card, but I haven't pressed down. The reason for that is because I wanted to sit the doilies behind it to see where I wanted them, and once I was happy with that, I glued those doilies in place and put the tag then down on top of them. So I have a sentiment in my stash, and it's simply with sympathy is what it says. I'm using my Onyx black ink, and it's the VersaFine Onyx black ink for the sentiment, and because I had a good amount of foam tape on the back, I've no problem stamping that down. So I've taken some of the little wooden dots, and using my Sizzix Hot Glue Gun, I'm going to stick them in place, one on each of the doilies in the center. I haven't decided on a sentiment that I want to put inside, but I will later stamp a sentiment inside, and it'll be thinking of you on the inside. So I'm going to put down some of the sequins that came in the kit, and there's a black sequins in there, but when you look at it under the light, it actually is an iridescent with a green color. They're really lovely, and I felt that the black and the gold would look well on this card. So using my jewel picker, I'm going to pick out some of the big black green sequins, and I'm going to stick them down using my Nuvo Glue, as well as a couple of the middle-sized gold sequins. And that is our card number 8, all done and finished. And now we're moving on to card number 9, and this is using the pattern papers, which I have cut down to 4.5 by 6.5. I've used my X-Cut corner rounder, and I've taken one of the stickers from the sticker pack. This one is a lovely tree. I'm sure this tree has a name. I don't know what it is, but it has a lovely verse on the tree. I have this piece of red card. The card came in the kit and it measures 5 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then I have a scalloped edged card base, and this measures 5 by 7. I had to stop and think there. But you can take a piece of card measuring 10 by 7 and score it at 5 in the center. So all we have to do now is stick our patterned paper to our matte layer, and I'm using some liquid glue to do that. I've already put my tree sticker with the sentiment down at the bottom right hand side, and I'm going to take some liquid glue and stick my matte layer then down on top of my card base. And basically, folks, that's the card itself. I haven't put any sentiment on the inside. That's something I'll do later, but as of right now I've left it blank. So now we're on card 10, and for this card I'm using a 5 by 7 card base. You can make one by cutting card 10 by 7 and score at 5. I have one of the flower ephemera pieces here, and I have it ready to go with some foam tape on it. I may use this is the direction I'm going in, I'm not too sure. I have another piece of ephemera with the word replenish on the front of it, and it's a scene piece and it's foiled. I have some dies that I'm going to use, and these are Hunky Dory Moonstone scalloped and straight edged nesting die ovals. These are a fabulous set. I love them. If you wanted to do a frame, which I considered doing, you can use one of the scalloped edges and the straight edges to make a nice frame, but I just wanted to use the patterned paper with the foiling on it. So I have my die there on the paper, and I have die cut that out, and I'm going to center that in my card. I've cut a strip off the paper that was left, and that's going to go in the inside of my card. As I said, I have a piece of ephemera with the word replenish on it, and I've put some double-sided tape on that. But first of all, I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm going to glue down my scalloped edged oval piece on the front of my card base. So you can see there I'm putting a liberal amount of Nuvo Glue on. I want to make sure that it sticks down evenly and it doesn't come off. And that's the great thing about the Nuvo Glue. Once you use it, generally after it tacks down within about 5 or 6 seconds, it's down for good. So I've centered that on my card base as best I can, and I think that looks about centered. I'm going to take my replenish ephemera piece, and I'm going to sit that down on my oval. Now I'm just deciding how I want that to sit and what way I want it to look. Do I want the flowers in front or behind? And I'm going to go with the replenish piece, and it's above the middle, so it's towards the top third, the top half of the card. Now I'm not pressing it down, I'm just going to sit it there nicely until I'm sure that's what I want. Now I like the idea of having the flowers in front of it, but I just think that this ephemera piece is too big. So while I take the release paper off, I'm actually looking to my left there and seeing, is there a similar sticker on the sticker pack? And there is, and I like this, but there's a little sprig of white flowers sticking out, and I'm actually going to cut that off. No one's going to really notice unless you look hard, but now it gives, you know, there's nothing in front of the word replenish. So because this is a sticker, I'm going to put a piece of foam tape down, but I've used my EK Success tool to take some of the stick off the back. I don't want any sticky elements sticking down to my pattern paper that I don't want sticking down. So that's the great thing about the EK Success tool, that you can take the sticky off a sticker and then put some glue or foam tape where you want it. So now again, I'm looking through to see what piece of ephemera do I want in the front, and I felt that the piece there on my left hand side on the desk was too big, whereas this piece is the similar size to the sticker I've used, so I'm going to use that instead. I'm putting some foam tape down on the bottom half, and then I'll use some liquid glue on the top half, and that part where the liquid glue is going to stick over my sticker. So now it looks like a real deep bouquet of flowers. And I spotted there was a little sticker flower on my sticker pack, and I popped that in there behind on the right hand side. So I've got some of my little wooden dots. I'm going to use the larger size on each corner of my card base. So 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. And again, they have like a sticky pad on the back of them. I've actually taken the sticky pad off the back, and I'm using my Sizzix Hot Glue Gun, putting a little dab of glue, hot glue on the back of each dot and then sticking them down. I just want to be sure that they're not going to come off, and this way I know they won't. And the sticky tab that's on the back of them probably would have worked fine, but I'm just going over the top to be sure. I put a couple of the smaller ones on the front of the card, and now I'm taking one of the stickers, and that sticker reads, "Find joy in the ordinary." I'll put a strip of the leftover paper inside at the bottom, and that'll be card number 10 finished.